A united European front ahead of next week's G20 summit. Host Angela Merkel welcomed leaders for preparatory talks in Berlin. While they're committed to the Paris climate deal, President Trump is pulling the US out. But any suggestion that he'd be isolated was quickly brushed to one side. The United States has announced it wants to withdraw from the Paris Accord while we're facing the challenge of migration, while the fight against terrorism is a challenge affecting all our societies, and where free trade is challenged by several countries. Today we must defend those things that are common to us all. Earlier, Chancellor Merkel stressed the importance of tackling climate change and slammed isolationism and protectionism in what was seen as a swipe at the US leader, but she too is taking a conciliatory and pragmatic approach. Because of the US decision to pull out of the Paris Accord, there are of course areas where opinions differ, but the United States is an important part of the G20, so we'll do anything to work together without covering up the differences. Climate change activists, though, will be a lot less diplomatic with Trump and the other G20 leaders. They'll be making their voices heard at the summit in Hamburg.
The leader of Germany's Social Democrats, Martin Schulz, has had harsh words for the Turkish president ahead of the G20 summit, and now Germany's foreign minister has said he wants none of the Turkish bodyguards involved in the fracas in Washington in May on German soil. Our country is an open country, but we have no intention of bringing other countries' domestic political conflicts into our population. For us, the Turks are part of our society. People living here with German citizenship or not are for us citizens of our country. Turkey's ambassador, speaking on behalf of the foreign ministry, was quick to react, describing both men's comments as regrettable. President Erdogan has been trying to find a venue for a mass rally in Germany on the margins of the G20 summit. But no venues in the Hamburg region have said they are available. There are also fears of protests and possible violence, similar to the scenes in Washington, when Erdogan's bodyguards attacked peaceful demonstrators. 8 of them have been named and are wanted for questioning in the United States. Towards the end of her life, Simone Veil, who's died aged 89, was a near universally loved politician in France, something extremely rare, if not unprecedented. But it was not always so. This was due to her landmark decisions in 1974 and 75 as Minister of Health, legalizing contraception and abortion. Applauded by progressives, it led to her demonization by the ultra-Catholic far right, and personal attacks on her, comparing her actions to those of the Nazis. This was especially hurtful, as she'd been deported to Birkenau with her mother and sister. They perished. She went on to become President of the European Parliament and was elected to the Académie Française.
The best is yet to come. So says Estonia, which is taking up the presidency of the Council of the EU, an historic moment marked in Tallinn.
I'm convinced that this Estonian presidency will build on this positive momentum and contribute to a more prosperous and more secure future for all Europeans. The programme, the priorities you have set out clearly shows that. From security to sustainability, from protection to prosperity.
The 6-month presidency comes at a crucial time in Europe as Britain negotiates its way out of the bloc. A divorce maybe, but Tallinn says the underlying friendship will remain.
United Kingdom is a democratic country, a free country, which shares our values, which will remain in Europe, which will remain our partner and ally, even after the Brexit happens. We will not allow any of those discussions to break down those links. And this is not anybody's objective in Europe, I can assure you.
Estonia, taking the rotating presidency from Malta, says a more united and stronger Europe is its goal.
US President Trump's temporary travel order is now in force. Protesters were out to rally against the new set of restrictions on immigrants from 6 predominantly Muslim countries. This attorney says it's something that could be expanded to affect many different groups of people.
I think it's important for people to keep this on their radar, to understand that what's happening is discriminatory, that it's unconstitutional, and that it's based in Islamophobic rhetoric, and it affects minorities generally and travelers generally.
Another traveller says the 90-day restriction is not the best way to stop terrorism. She says Muslims are the ones suffering the most from terrorism.
Most Muslims feel that this isn't the best way to promote peace, but we respect whatever America chooses to do. I hope that America will think about peace and harmony as the goal.
A 120-day ban on all refugees is also in force.
Germany's parliament has voted by a wide margin to legalise same-sex marriage. The parliament voted by 393 votes in favour of same-sex unions to 226 against. It comes after Chancellor Angela Merkel did an about-face that freed members of her governing Conservative bloc to follow their personal conscience rather than the party line.
Es war eine lange, intensive, für viele auch emotional.
It was a long, intensive debate, she says, and for many, an emotionally moving discussion. This also goes for me personally. That's why I hope the vote today not only promotes respect between different opinions, but also brings more social cohesion and peace.
Sondern dass damit auch ein Stück gesellschaftlicher Friede und Zusammenhalt geschaffen werden konnte.
Many other European countries, including France, Britain and Spain, have already legalised same-sex marriage. The measure is likely to be signed into law by the President sometime after July the 7th.
Y nos va a un pausa comercial y ahora nos back e deporte con nuestro colega Carl Reuter.
Ata Pizza Hut curso 1, 2, 3 special. Bem purba e calzone